right, let's go. Hello, guys. Welcome back to TFD with Cordy. Today, we've got something interesting to talk about because Team USA has officially arrived for camp, and the buzz around this roster is already starting to heat up. A lot of fans have been waiting to see the first glimpses of these players together, especially with such a mix of young stars and established veterans. But let's be real here. One player is getting the majority of the spotlight right now, and that player is Caitlin Clark. If you've been paying attention to anything related to international women's basketball over the past few days, you probably noticed the same thing I did. Pretty much everything coming out from Fiba seems to feature Caitlin Clark. Every promotional post, every graphic, every highlight, Clark is front and center. And honestly, it's not surprising at this point. Whether people like it or not, Caitlin Clark has become the face of women's basketball in many ways. Her popularity, her style of play, and the attention she brings to the sport are on a completely different level. Now, with the players arriving at camp, fans have been keeping a close eye on who showed up and who hasn't arrived yet. Obviously, Caitlin Clark is there. She showed up late at night, around 1 a.m. my time. I'm recording this around 2:40 a.m., so yeah, we're running on very little sleep here. But that's what happens when big news drops in the middle of the night. From what we've seen so far, most of the roster has reported to camp. However, there are still a few names that people noticed missing in the early arrivals.
Hey. Welcome.
For example, we didn't see Angel Reese arriving yet. We also didn't see Monique Billings initially, and there were questions about Ray Burrell as well. Some fans were also asking whether Nafisa Collier, often called Hami by fans, was there yet. Now, sometimes these arrival clips don't tell the full story. Players can arrive at different times, some come through different entrances, and sometimes the footage simply hasn't been posted yet. So it doesn't necessarily mean those players aren't coming, it just means we haven't seen them on camera yet. But regardless of who arrives first, the big picture here is that Team USA camp is officially underway, and this tournament coming up is going to be a fascinating one to watch. A lot of people are treating this event like it's some high-stakes competition where the results will determine everything, but that's not really the case. Technically, these games are tied to international competition, but the reality is that the United States is already qualified for the next major tournament. Because of their previous success, including winning the Fiba Women's AmeriCup, Team USA already secured its place in the Fiba Women's World Cup. So when people call these games qualifiers, that's technically true, but for the United States, they're basically a formality. Let me put it this way. Even in some crazy hypothetical scenario where the United States somehow lost every game in this event, it wouldn't actually knock them out of the World Cup. They're already in. The results might affect seeding or positioning, but the qualification itself is not really in question. That's why this tournament should really be viewed as something closer to an exhibition environment for the United States. It's an opportunity for the coaching staff to experiment with lineups, test combinations, and evaluate how certain players fit together. And that's why you might see some very unusual lineups during these games. The schedule itself is pretty intense. They're playing 5 games in 7 days, which is a lot of basketball in a short period of time. With that kind of schedule, the coaching staff is almost guaranteed to rotate players heavily. You're not going to see the same starting lineup every night. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised at all if every single player on the roster gets at least one start during the tournament. Now, at this point, we might be wondering if there is any point to this game outside of being an exhibition, and there are some connections to FIBA rankings. The way FIBA rankings work is that it considers results from a variety of events, including qualifying tournaments and major championships. So, even if the United States is already qualified for the World Cup, the outcomes of these games could still impact their overall seeding and position in future draws. So while there isn't the immediate pressure of qualifying, there's still a small level of importance tied to the overall international landscape. But hey, let's get back to that lineup discussion, because that's where things get really interesting. I saw someone suggest Ryan Holland might start, but personally, I'm not convinced that happens, at least not over players like Kalia Copper. Copper has already proven herself at a very high level, both in the WNBA and internationally. If you're looking purely at performance and experience, she would probably be ahead in that particular rotation. That said, again, the starting lineup for the first game probably doesn't matter that much. The coaching staff's goal here isn't necessarily to lock in a final rotation, it's to evaluate players. And one of the players they'll obviously be evaluating closely is Caitlin Clark. Clark's transition to international basketball is something that a lot of fans are curious about. Her deep shooting range, her passing vision, and her ability to push the pace make her a very unique player in the global game. But international basketball can also be very different from the WNBA or college basketball. The spacing is different, the physicality can be different, and the style of play varies depending on the opponent. So, this tournament will give Clark a chance to adjust to those differences while playing alongside elite teammates. Looking ahead a bit further, some fans are already thinking about what the roster might look like for the next Olympics. Obviously, that's still a long way away, but certain names are already being discussed as potential locks. Players like Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers are widely expected to be major pieces of the future national team. Meanwhile, veterans like Jackie Young will likely continue to play important roles as well. In the front court, Aaliyah Boston could also become a cornerstone of Team USA moving forward. Then there are interesting debates involving players like Angel Reese and Alyssa Thomas. Both bring very different strengths to the table. Reese offers rebounding dominance and energy, while Thomas is known for her versatility and all-around playmaking. Those kinds of roster decisions will eventually come down to coaching philosophy and how the team wants to build its lineup. But for now, the focus is much simpler. Team USA has arrived at camp, the practices are starting, and the tournament is just around the corner. Let me know what you think about the roster, the potential lineups, and how you expect these games to play out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.